Thank you for tuning into the final college football playoff rankings with Alex Thompson on Alex's Sports Talk Show. Thanks for tuning in again. And I'm going to dive right into this. So the final college football playoff rankings came out on this previous Sunday, 12/8. And here was their top six rankings. They had LSU at number 1, Ohio State number 2, Clemson finished at number 3, Oklahoma rounds the top 4, Georgia fell to 5, Oregon rises to 6th with that Pac-12 championship win over Utah. Sorry, Aunt Linda, the Utes don't get in this year. I was dang close going to put them in. I was this close. That defense looked like the real deal, and I was like, you know what? We'll see what happens. Did the committee get this right? I think they did. I really think they did get this right. I really think that these are the 4 best teams in the nation right now. I do have some bias toward Ohio State, if you did not know. So I definitely think Ohio State should had more of a consideration for number 1 than LSU did. But we're going to break all these rankings down, and we're going to go into predictions for these college football playoffs games. Okay, so number 1, they had LSU, and this is why LSU is number 1. Joe Burrow is the Heisman. There's no change in people's minds or my mind. I think Joe Burrow is the Heisman. He set the SEC season passing record. He breaks the SEC touchdown single season record with 35 plus touchdowns. He beat Alabama in Alabama. They have lost the past 6 to 7 years straight to Alabama, so that's a huge culture swing for them. LSU has beaten 2 top 4 teams, number 3 Alabama, and then this past weekend for the SEC championship, number 4 Georgia. They also have 5 top 25 wins. So that defense really stepped up these past couple weeks and really came through against the Georgia game. I think they get allowed maybe 14 to 17 points. But OU is a different beast. OU is one of the top offenses in the nation right now. They are going to be playing Oklahoma in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl December 28th at 1 p.m. This game is going to have it all. It's going to have explosive plays. It's going to have great quarterback play. Defensive play, that's kind of iffy, but you're going to have a great QB battle in Jalen Hurts, who's been there before, and first time around Joe Burrow. You're going to have a wide receiver battle in CeeDee Lamb and LSU wide receiver, and then you're going to see if LSU is going to load the box against Jalen Hurts, because LSU has been known in the past to struggle against Jalen Hurts, who has accumulated about 1,100 rushing yards, about 5 to 7 rushing touchdowns. He's going to be used a lot. The reason I say this is because LSU has gone against Mississippi State and Ole Miss. They both had mobile-ish quarterbacks, and they kind of gave them some problems. So that's what I'm going to be looking for defensively for LSU. I think LSU does get the number 1 spot, but I don't think LSU is the most complete team. Remember, this is week-to-week basis. I think that LSU is the top spot in the country, or claimed the top spot this week in the country. Number 2, you know what's good with it. I got Ohio State, the boys from the O. They have gone through all different types of situations. This year they've gone through small victories, large blowouts, player suspensions, new quarterback, new head coach, new staff. And then recently it's been the deficit against Wisconsin in the Big Ten. They were down 21-7 going into halftime. They would have the ball in the second half. And I think that Ohio State is ready in this battle test. They can show you they can win from multiple perspectives. They can win right from the gate. They can win in a close game, or they can come back from behind and beat you. I think that Ohio State definitely has the better defense, and I'll explain in just a second while I'm going to get to some topics. As mentioned, they can show us they can win anyway. They have 6 wins over top 25 teams, and they have 2 top 10 wins. They play in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl December 28th at 5 p.m. right after the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. LSU just has better top 4 wins than Ohio State does. That's why LSU is number one, and they didn't get blown out in the first half by Wisconsin. Now, this Fiesta Bowl preview is going to be pretty interesting. Did you know, this is a fun stat of the video, did you know that Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence were the top 2 recruits in the 2018 class? Yeah, pretty crazy. Justin Fields was number 1, Trevor Lawrence was 2, and they're both from Georgia. Yes. Okay, so it's going to be a quarterback battle. Fields versus Trevor Lawrence. You have a 1-year experience, 40 touchdowns, 1 interception to Trevor Lawrence, national champion. Last year beat one of the best teams in college football history because it's Nick Saban and it's Alabama. Now, these offenses are both top 5 in yards per game and in points. OSU is getting offensively 48 points per game. Clemson is getting 44.9 points per game. Now, defensively, these are the 2 complete teams in these college football playoffs. Defensively, they are the top 2 teams in yards per game and pass yards per game. They are also the top 5 allowed in the offensive touchdown categories. Thank you to ESPN for these wonderful stats. Now, what does that mean? It means that defensively, these have been the 2 most dominant defense in the nation. Like if you're the top 2 teams allowed in yards per game and passing yards per game, you know that if you're gonna have to beat us, you're gonna have to beat us on the ground. Which leads into the next topic of the running backs. Yes, they have 2 running backs. Very great. You have J.K. Dobbins for Ohio State. J.K. Dobbins has been the unsung hero for this team. He relieves so much pressure off Justin Fields. It's crazy. He relieves so much pressure that it actually allows Justin Fields to have this 40 touchdowns, 1 interception ratio. It sets up the great play action. It makes defenders play closer to the line so you can immediately just like throw it over their heads. Ohio State got the number 2 because of the Big Ten championship first half where they let up 21 points. Get into the other side now of this PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. Clemson has been the most dominant team in the past month or so, blowing teams out of the city. Go check in the next day and you might go find the opponents that Clemson has beat. It's been that good. Now, they only have 1 top 25 win, and that's against a number 12 A&M team several weeks ago. By several, I'm talking like 5-6 weeks ago. Versus Ohio State, Clemson is 3-0. However, I do think that with this Fiesta Bowl, this is probably going to be one of their toughest games of the year by far. I mean, obviously now we're in the playoffs, so it's supposed to get harder. But I just think that you look at in the ACC, you look at who Clemson has played. They just beat a number 24 Virginia like 62-7 or 17. So that just goes to show you, A, how bad ACC teams are. Virginia's 9-4, by the way, and they're in the championship. And it goes to show you how dominant Clemson really is. Now, we know that Clemson lost a bunch of those first-rounders, but I really think playing these weaker opponents has really buffed up this Clemson defense. I really think they want to run what they can run, and they're doing it at a really effective level. So as I mentioned, Clemson is 3-0. There are 3 times they have faced each other. It was 1978 in the Gator Bowl, and Clemson won that. In the 2014 Orange Bowl with Jalen Smith tore his ACL in the first round, Clemson won that game. And then in the 2016 Fiesta Bowl a couple years ago, they beat the brakes off Ohio State. They beat them 31-0. So if we're looking at the track record, Clemson should win this game, right? But they got a prolific QB. They got a great offense and a very good untested defense. Who is top 2? You know who the other one is? Ohio State. I think this is going to be one of the best games of the season, to be honest. And that's not my bias towards Ohio State. I really think that both top-tier defenses, 2 top-tier quarterbacks, 2 top-tier running backs, I really think this is going to be the game. And I honestly think that whoever wins this Fiesta Bowl is going to win the whole thing. LSU offense, great. Their defense, however, has gotten shredded a couple times. So I think that if LSU beats Oklahoma and face the winner of this game, I think that they're going to get stopped a lot more on offense. So that's Clemson. Let's move on to number 4. OU, Oklahoma, going in there with another going into number 4 seed again with Lincoln Riley, but this time we get Jalen Hurts instead of Kyler Murray. Jalen Hurts is probably one of my favorite college QBs currently. I think he'll become a great NFL quarterback. With some time, I predict he's going to go late second to the 4th round. I love his determination, his hunger, and his attitude towards winning. He wants to get better. He wants to be good. If he didn't think it was a good game, you'll find him in the locker room working out for 2 more hours because that football game he just played, those 48 minutes, weren't good enough for him. He's going to go back and get some more. So I think Jalen Hurts is a really good quarterback. Not the top quarterback this year's draft, but he's definitely, if you give him the time to develop and sit behind someone great or even like a veteran, I really think Jalen Hurts will develop into something special. Lincoln Riley, the head coach of Oklahoma Sooners, is one of the best offensive-minded coaches in the CFB, and his name has been swirling in a lot of teams' head coaching jobs. So we know that this guy can perform. The past 2 Heisman winners has come out of Oklahoma in Lincoln Riley's offense, and they both went on to be the number 1 overall pick. So we know that Lincoln Riley, great strategist. So now let's talk about their defense, because we know that Big 12 teams don't really have a defense. Now they have better defense than they do last year, but that defense is barely fair. Like if you have average, so it goes like poor, average, fair, good, great, excellent, right? So fair is barely getting the job done. They've had some close ones. Their game against LSU on 12/28, the 28th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be a shootout. You got big ball hawking cats on those LSU Tigers wide receivers, and then you got Jalen Hurts who can run the ball. They have a great running attack. They have a great wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. This is going to be a shootout. It's going to be a very high-powered or high-scoring game. Fun stats now about Oklahoma and where they rank offensively to let you know what's up. They're number 5 with points per game with 43.2, so they're right behind a couple points off of Clemson with 44.9. They're number 2 in yards per game with 554.2. Number 12 with the rushing yards per game, 251. And they have the 16th pass attack with averaging 303 yards per game. Now, so you know that they can get hot quick. And CeeDee Lamb, boy, does that man have to go 110% every play to get open for Jalen if they want to win. That's going to be the key. Can CeeDee Lamb pop off against those LSU Tigers? Jalen Hurts has got to have barely any turnovers. I think that the only turnovers have to be one from the running back if they want to win this game. So let's get into predictions. Yes, predictions. LSU versus Oklahoma. I am going to choose LSU. LSU wins this game. They're going to win this game 43-40. I think Joe Burrow leads them down with a minute left in the game, and they get like a 27-42 yard field goal for the win. Now, this is the game. This is the game where I'm going to be watching, and I'm going to be loving it because I got my boys, Ohio State, playing in. They're going to be playing Clemson, number 2 versus number 3. This is going to be the game who decides the champion. Sorry, LSU, but this game, this is going to be, these are the most 2 complete teams going at it. Originally, I was going to go like 35, 38, but I was like, nah, these defenses are way too good for that. So I'm going to go, I'm going to go 28-27 Ohio State. I really want to pick Clemson. I think that Clemson is right there, but I got to have faith with my boys. Like, if it's literally like this. Like, this is Ohio State. This is Clemson. It's like not even that. It's like millimeters. But I think Ohio State edges it out. I think, I'm going to go up my dog, J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to have a big run to ice the game, and the national champions go down. Ryan Day, Justin Fields, first-year quarterback and coach are going to go up with a huge blast of victory and get that first dub over Clemson. That's a hot take. Let me know what you guys think. Please drop a comment, hit that like button, subscribe, do share, please. I would love any feedback you guys got from me. I love doing these. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here. Have a good one. Go Buckeyes.